You hand over one bill, and somehow they swear you gave them another. Steve here, Street Smart Travel, back with some more scams in the On the Ground series. And today we are talking about currency exchange scams. When I think currency exchange, I think den of thieves. These guys see you coming and going. I don't know how to escape the scam. I do know how to minimize it, and that's what I'll be talking about in this video. But before we get underway, using an iPhone for this, got a new phone, and also Max at Visions Electronics in Oshawa, good guy, hooked me up with this mic, and it's really windy today, so I put on the noise canceling, and I also put on this fancy little cover, and the sound quality is amazing. So let me know, if you've been watching these videos, how's the audio and video quality versus the way it was. And he also signed up for the channel, and I think it was sub number 465. Thanks, Max. Appreciate it. Recognition. The scam. The setup. What are they going to do? Like all these scams. Distraction. They want you to move fast. They're going to be shuffling bills all over the place. They're going to be talking to you while you're trying to focus on other things because they don't want you paying attention to what they're doing. You're going to find these guys a lot at border crossings. At the end of this video, I will share my Ecuador to Colombia and Colombia to Ecuador crossing stories. I did get scammed for a couple bucks. Don't really care, but I'll show you how the scam works. Sometimes I let them play the scam out just so I have more content for a video. Pressure tactics, always rushing. It's always time pressure, constantly talking and trying to distract you. That's the game. Confusion is part of the mechanism. Step 2, shutdown, what to do. When you're at the border, and if you're dealing with these guys with the briefcases and the bags of currency, make sure you know what you're going to be exchanging in terms of how much currency you have. And I would have that ready, have that in your pocket separate from whatever other money you have. Don't show them, hey, I have this huge pile of cash over here. No, this is the money I need to exchange right now. That's it. Don't show them where you got most of your money. Now you count out the money out loud while it's in your hand at least 2 or 3 times, and you say, this is what I have. Let's say it's 50 US dollars, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. Okay, check it again. Then you ask them, what's the rate? They're going to give you an inflated rate. They're not going to use your 50 bucks times the rate they just gave you to give you the money. They're just going to tell you, oh, here's this great rate, but they don't calculate the rest of the transaction. That's where the scam takes place. Use smaller bills where possible. Use bills in better shape because they do tend to be really picky, not so much at the border, but when you go to banks and casas de cambio and in the airport, they're going to want perfect bills. So that's one way. It's not avoiding the scam, it's just knowing you have what you need. If you can use official exchanges, do that. I'll talk about that at the end of the video. And as always, slow the interaction down. They're going to push you to go faster, slow them down. You're not in a hurry. You got loads of time. Oh, you got to get over there for the taxi. It's leaving now. Yeah, and there's like 10 more taxis waiting to go. There is no reason to hurry. Damage control. If you get scammed, stay calm, as always. Don't escalate. It's not going to be for a huge amount of money. It's frustrating. Makes you feel like you're a walking bank machine. I've never liked it. I don't understand it, but it happens all the time. These guys see you coming, like, hey, this person could afford a flight and they're staying in hotels and eating at restaurants. I'm never going to be able to do that. I don't feel bad about taking some of their money from them. That's it. Make sure you count the money and you got a reasonable amount in the exchange. They're going to rip you off, I guarantee it, or they're going to try. And if you have a small loss, accept it and move on. It's better to protect your safety and your belongings rather than to fight over the last dollar. It's not worth it. So when I got to the border at Rumichaca, the crossing between Ecuador and Colombia, I stopped, well, the bus dropped me off and I went into the first exchange house that I saw. They gave me a rate that wasn't great, but I knew if I change over 30 to 50 bucks, I'm going to have enough money to get on a taxi, on a bus, a hotel if I need it, some food. That'll get me through until I get to a town where I can get to a better source to exchange currency. So I take a hit on a little bit of cash, but I can function, I can get to a much better rate later on. That's a big reason why you keep your losses low. I don't know how to get around that scam, because when I got to the border, the money exchange guys there walking around with the briefcases, they gave me a much higher rate. But they're not using that rate. What they do is, okay, I've got 50 bucks, here's the rate we'll give you. They don't take 50 times whatever the rate, let's say 3,600, so $1 US equals arbitrarily 3,600 Colombian pesos. They don't multiply that. They just show you, here's the rate on the calculator. So before you get there, go online to xe.com or some other currency conversion app. Type in, I have this much currency in US dollars, let's say, this amount of money. And I want to convert it into Colombian pesos. Let's say it's 30 bucks times 3,600. Here's the number you should be looking at. That's not the number they're going to give you, but just know this is the ballpark of what I should be expecting. When you're flying into an airport, you're going to see the currency exchange there. You can use that. You can use the banks. You can use Western Union, like I was doing. In Pasto, I found a Western Union inside an Éxito store, and they gave me a really good rate. They wanted my passport, they wanted thumbprints, they wanted just about everything, aside from rights to my firstborn. But they give you a paper trail, and they actually had a better rate than the Casa de Cambio that I found down the street. And I only found one, so there wasn't a lot of options there. Point being, if you know I have this much currency and I'm going to change it into this other currency and the total should be somewhere around here, you know what you're getting into. And if you deal with official channels, banks, Western Union, the airport, kiosk, you're going to get a legit transaction. There's probably going to be some fees. You're not going to make the most, but you're going to be treated fairly. And you get a paper trail. Also, it helps if you have small denominations and if you have good quality bills. Sometimes they'll haggle, oh, this bill has a tiny imperfection, we can't accept it. That happened to me in Popayan. And I looked at it, and she was right. This was another Western Union inside a different bank. So they gave me a rate, then okay, there's these fees, and okay, whatever. At the end of the day, they're going to ding you here and there. It's nickel and diming, death by 1,000 cuts. It's not going to make you go broke, but change what you need to get into the country and then find a much better rate. If you're staying in a hotel, they can tell you, hey, there's a good place here, or go to the bank. Like, they know what's going on. The guys at the border are to just get you to where you need to go and then exchange larger amounts of currency when you are in a location where you feel safer to do that and where you're going to be treated better and there's a paper trail. If you've been scammed by currency exchange artists anywhere, please let me know in the comments. Thanks again to Max, subscriber number 465, for hooking me up with the audio, and for another buddy, Dwayne, in Oshawa, for taking me to a great place to buy a secondhand iPhone. Thanks for stopping by. Comments or questions, please drop them below. More scams coming out over the next few Wednesdays. Happy trails. Stay safe. See you out on the ground next Wednesday.